Yes, people. So here we are today with Josh. So my American client overseas who absolutely smashed his physique transformation. So I think we went from 190 pounds to I think the lowest was 167. And then
163.
163, sorry. And then oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was actually like the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even though we began reversing out of the diet, you still managed to somehow lose weight. Absolutely smashing it. So today we're just going to sort of go through your journey. Why don't you just quickly introduce yourself, just to explain maybe how where you started the process and sort of where you're at now.
So about me. So my name is Josh, and yeah, I'm in the United States. So I live in Chicago, and I ran into Boyson just through Instagram. I think you just popped up on one of my feeds, my For You page or something like that. And I had already been thinking about getting a coach for a couple of weeks. And I don't know whose picture one of your older clients was on there. I saw that before and after. I clicked on your page. I saw all these people have made really good progress, so that's why I reached out to you. So yeah, when I reached out to you, I think I was 190, and yeah, I was pretty chunky boy.
You were.
I was a little chunky.
Why didn't you go back? Because back in college, you were actually in really good shape. Like I'll put some pictures on the screen of like I remember there's a picture of you like off a mirror with a six pack on the beach with a mirror with a six pack. Like you used to be in good shape, and then you sort of maybe got a bit out of hand as obviously priorities change throughout life. Focusing on work and stuff like that. And then like, what would you say you were struggling with most before you? Because obviously you went up, but you've obviously been in good shape before. So what would you say you were struggling with most that made you reach out?
Yeah, so I would think so when I was in high school, so up until I was 18, I'm 24 now. Up until I was 18, I ran a lot of track. So I was always running, sprinting, doing miles. And then also during school I was involved in a lifting program. So one of my classes, just like science, math, whatever, one of them was lifting. So you pair lifting with running, which is kind of what we're doing now. I was
Yeah.
really muscular, but I was also really lean because I did a lot more running than I did lifting. So then when I graduate and I go to college, so when I was from 18 to 22, I turned 21, I can start drinking, drinking beer. Um, and I just didn't go that often into the gym. However, I think just having that high school experience of lifting a lot, you know, it was always kind of like something about me that I was always in the gym. I was always working out. I was just really inconsistent. Um, so I knew that I had the tools for it. I had the motivation for it. I had the knowledge of how to do the workouts. It was just I needed somebody to kind of guide me through the process. Somebody that's already been there before. And that's when I reached out to you. Is I saw somebody that had clients that all of them had great transformations. And I thought, okay, well, this guy clearly knows how to do his stuff. And even this guy himself is also in really good shape, right? It's like you don't trust the bartender that doesn't drink, right? So this guy's also in really good shape. So let me reach out to him.
100%. No, I appreciate the kind words. So what would you say was maybe you were surprised at or what you thought like the approach that I was taking with regards to the physique transformation itself, like the process, was there anything that shocked you about it? Like what were your views on that?
Um, no, I mean, it depends, I think again, I go back to the fact that I've worked out before, I've ran before. So, when you told me like, hey, we're gonna do a couple mile runs, go out and run for 30 minutes, I was already running for 30 minutes. When you said, hey, we're gonna do, dumbbell press and squats and this and that, I already knew how to do all of that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, like let's just get to it. I think the main reason that really caught me off guard was the diet, right?
Yeah.
And I've told my girlfriend this and everybody that I've talked to about my transformation. I always say that the hardest part about it was the first week because I didn't know how much I was overeating, right? Because I would just eat and I just would fill up my plate or maybe not even fill up my plate, but maybe I was eating something unhealthy. But then, we started with the macros, and I think we started at like 1,700 calories, which is not bad. Like the average is, or the recommended amount is 2,000 calories, right? But even just on a 300 calorie deficit, I think I was consuming maybe like 2,500 calories a day,
Yeah.
right?
I think
2,700.
that's like a big,
So
isn't it? People always don't realize how. how much they're eating. Like you said before, you were like on the console, you're like, oh, I'm eating maybe around 2,000, but then you realize, oh, actually,
Yeah.
when you actually stick to a diet, you're like, oh, wait, I was eating probably quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, no, and it was and again, like the hardest part about the program was just the first week. It was just trusting you, and it was just going to the gym. I was hungry, but I knew I had to go work out, or I was hungry, but I knew I had to go run. And I think the first week I dropped maybe like 5 pounds.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and when I saw that, and then 2 weeks later, wait, are you still on here? Sorry,
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
my screen off.
That's all good.
Um, so when I saw that, I think 2 weeks later, I started seeing progress in my body,
Yeah,
and that's when I was like, okay, the first week was really tough. The second week, I got a little, I got used to it, and then I started seeing progress, and I was like, all right, I'm all in. Let's do it.
yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I love that a lot. And I think that is the big thing. It's like that first beginning phase is very important and you see the results straight away and then you're brought into the process, right? You're like, okay, right, this actually does work. It's worth me being a bit hungry at first, but the body responded really nicely. Did you have any like doubts or concerns like before starting with regards to the whole online sort of scene? Were you skeptical maybe about whether or not it was legit or whether or not you could really get results? And what were your thoughts, obviously, after now that you've completed your transformation?
No, I don't think I was skeptical. I think I honestly just put my trust into you. Um, and again, like you had clients, you had before and after pictures. Like here's where you can be in 4 months or in 6 months. So I think the only thing I was really skeptical about was no way, like this guy looked like that 4 months ago, and now he looks like this. Like that's the only thing that I was skeptical
Yeah,
about. But like now I'm that guy.
yeah, you're that guy.
Now it's
Yeah,
like you pull up my before and after, and I was like, whoa, like it
yeah,
really
yeah,
was just,
yeah,
and time flies by. So like that was 6 months ago. We started in January.
yeah.
And you just get used to going to the gym, you put it into your routine, and next thing you know, it's been 4 months and you're in really good shape.
Yeah, I love that. And like a big thing for you was obviously your social life. You were traveling a lot. So how did you sort of find fitting the plan in? Because like there was one point where you were going like traveling most weeks, and stuff like that. How did you find us being able to still make progress, but allowing you to still have that social life? How did you find that part of the process?
I found it really hard, but I knew that, I had the commitment to you, so I wanted to do it because you and I had a plan.
Yeah,
So I wanted to stick to it. And also, which I think was the most important part, is that I had the personal commitment of knowing that above all, I was doing this for myself.
yeah,
Right. So I knew that I didn't want to give up on myself. I knew that if I, like you said, like I was traveling like every other week,
yeah,
you know, I didn't want to lose the progress that I had built the week before. So, like it was, multiple times and during my travel, I would go to the gym at like 11 p.m. I would go to the gym at like midnight because I knew that if I didn't go, I would fall behind.
yeah.
So it was just pushing myself because any other day I'll stay up until midnight watching a movie. Any other day I'll stay up until midnight going to see my friends, going to a bar. So why can't I do the same thing but for a good cause, which is for my health and working out?
100%. I think that's where as well the communication like on WhatsApp between me and you was so important. Like traveling, making plans for when you're going traveling, putting plans and protocols in place so you could still like enjoy foods out with your girlfriend. But you're right, there'd be that balance aspect of right, well then
Yep.
maybe I'm gonna have to go to the gym at 11 o'clock at night and I don't really want to, but I want to have a nice time with my girlfriend. I want to go traveling with my family, go to the festivals like you went to and stuff like that. So I think that's where we managed the balance really well, where you could still do all these things, but you just had to have protocols in place so that, again, you didn't ruin the progress and the commitment that you'd made, sort of
Right.
100%. So, like, would you say you felt restricted during the progress, or would you say you felt like you still enjoyed the process, the 6 months? Like, what was your sort of feel on that?
Um, I think during the cutting phase, I did feel a little restricted,
Yeah,
but at the same time, like that was the whole point,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You're in a
Is you
diet.
have to restrict yourself, right?
Yeah,
So like if I wasn't feeling restricted, that's because I could eat whatever I want, you know. So but that was the whole point, right?
and
And
like,
when I was restricted, that's when I made all this progress,
exactly.
and now that I'm in the bulking phase or not in the like the really deficit anymore, again, like my fats stayed the same. My protein maybe I think increased a little bit, but the only thing that increased was carbs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
that
well,
was just like
because
having
right now you're eating like 2,500 almost calories, right?
2000. Yeah, just
Yeah,
2000.
sorry, 2,000, yeah. But so like, and that's like compared to what we were doing, and your weights, what were you this morning? What was it, 168 still?
I was 168, 169,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like from your lowest, you're up a few pounds, but when we actually finished the diet, you were 167 pounds, I think, or 168, and then we slowly increased your food and actually dropped weight. And
Yeah.
then now it's slowly going back up. And
Yeah.
how are you feeling like now? Do you feeling like now that the diet's over and you're actually eating a bit more food, how are you
Yeah.
feeling within your body doing this? Because like you've committed to the process, right? You didn't just get lean and then bin it off. You've like started reversing out of the diet, eating more food. How are you feeling now compared to maybe at the end of the diet?
No, I feel good. I feel really good. I mean, again, like I'm still in shape. I'm still working out. I'm still running. I think the only difference is that just I can eat a little bit more,
Yeah,
but it's just eating a little bit more of what I was already eating. It's not like, oh, I can squeeze in,
a
a fatty
burger.
snack or something,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like maybe like every once in a while,
yeah. Of course.
sure, like just to kill the craving. But then I know that the next day I'm gonna have a low fat breakfast because yesterday I had a fatty
Yeah,
dinner, right? So it's like how do I say it? Like
very conscious and aware. Well,
I'm
how would you say,
conscious. I'm
yeah?
conscious
How
of
would you
of
say
what I
like
had.
this process has sort of affected your day-to-day habits, your lifestyle choices, if that makes sense? Like,
Oh yeah.
do you ever see yourself going back to what you were before now
No.
that like no, purely because of like like how much more educated you are now and the discipline that you've sort of built into yourself?
Yeah. No, I think above all, um, I think like yeah, above all, like sure, I'm I'm a lot more. I'm just trying to use the right words. I guess like yeah, going back to what you said, like being more conscious. I mean, maybe before I would just serve myself a little bit more of whatever I was eating here, but now I mean I'm just so used to it. I mean it's been 6 months. Like at this point, it's just second nature to me
Yeah,
of not overeating, right? Of now like my stomach has been used for the last 6 months to eating this certain way, to the point where I don't know what I had at one point, but I had something that was like maybe a little bit greasy and like my stomach just hurt. Like my stomach just
yeah,
did not accept it,
yeah,
you know? And it was like my stomach at this point is so used to just like eating healthy and working out and eating
yeah.
and running that if I don't do that, my stomach and my body just feels off,
Yeah. And I think that's
So
the big thing now is like, remember there was one part in the transformation where it was a bit cold in Chicago. You weren't able to get your runs in. Whereas now, I can't imagine you not running to like every other day. I'm getting either a picture of your run on the treadmill or like a video on Instagram of you running around Chicago with your top of looking sick. It's like wow,
yeah,
this guy's like a different person almost compared to 6 months ago. When we started in terms of just day-to-day habits and the
yeah.
lifestyle changes that you've made, which is incredible. So I'd say like what's probably like the biggest thing in terms of like not just obviously visually you look way better, but in terms of like feeling like how did you feel before with regards to like your physique and stuff versus how you feel now? Also like so what would you say the biggest differences are in that?
Um like aside from the physique,
Yeah, aside from the physique, purely like just how you feel in yourself almost.
I would just say it's a lot more confidence in myself.
Yeah,
Um Yeah, it's just confidence. I think maybe I don't walk with my head down a little bit. It's like now like I'm really confident in I mean I guess part of it is for the physique, but I walk with my chest straight, my chin up high, and I'm just a lot more confident person. Um so yeah, I mean I would just say it's that. It's just I'm just a lot more
yeah.
confident.
Well, yeah, 100%. I think that one of the big things is just feeling good in yourself, right? Did you get many compliments from, your friends, family, like about your physique transformation? What's the sort of the response in to the rest of the world been to it?
Yeah, so when you and I first started, I had a meeting at my job, and we have a meeting like I'd say like every 3 months or something. So it's like a quarterly meeting. So when we had this meeting in January, it was like late January. You and I had just started, um, and everyone's going around the table saying, "Hey, like, what's going on with your lives?" work wise and personal wise. So come to me, I talk about work, and then I'm like, oh, and personally, like I hired a trainer, and we started 2 weeks ago, and they're like, oh, nice, like how is that going so far? And I was like, good, like I dropped 8 pounds, and they're
Yeah.
like, wow, like that's awesome. Fast forward 6 months, we just had a meeting a couple weeks ago. They're like, hey, so how again, how's everybody doing? Talking about work. It gets to me again, and I was like, yeah, and so an update with that trainer, I dropped 30 pounds. And they're like, no way. And I was like, yeah. And obviously it's coworkers. I don't show them the pictures, but
Yeah.
I show my friends, my family the pictures, and they're like, wow. Like
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, if you show the pictures later,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
like, wow, like you look like that now. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. That's sick. So like, what would you almost say to someone who is thinking about doing online coaching? Oh, should I do it? Is it worth it? Will I actually see results? What would you sort of say to them?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously I would say that I definitely recommend it. But I think above all is you have to be committed, and you want to have to do it. Like if you're only signing up because your friend is making you sign up, but
Yeah,
you yourself don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to see any progress. But if you're signing up because you're tired of looking a certain way, or you're doing this for yourself because you want to see yourself look different, and you have that motivation and you're going to do whatever it takes to do it, like I said, I would go to the gym at midnight because I knew I was going to fall behind, then you're going to see progress. But
yeah.
it doesn't matter, like if you're not in it 100%, you're not going to finish.
Well, I think that's probably the biggest thing is that you have to be, like you said, you were willing to do whatever it took in terms of the training, the diet. You had that trust in me, but it wasn't like a magic pill. It wasn't like, oh, you signed up, instant
Yeah.
six. It's like you just had the blueprint there that I gave you, any questions you ever had, making plans for like going and traveling and stuff. But you had a format that you had to follow, and we did that, but you had to put all the work in. I think that's one thing
Mhm.
that is credit to you, but also something that we should definitely make clear is that it does require effort. It does require a lot of work, but the support is there and the blueprint is there. You just have to apply yourself.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because again, like you gave me everything I needed, right? Like you gave me a diet plan. I mean, you didn't give me like, hey, this is what you're gonna eat. It was just like, hey, here's your calories,
Yeah.
here's your protein, your carbs, whatever you eat, just log it. So you gave me that.
I think that
Then you
was
said, hey,
well. You are like again. This is all like client dependent, right? Like you're advanced. Like not many clients come to me knowing what macros are, maybe what protein is, how to train. Whereas you
mm,
were at that standard where you were like, look, I just need to sort of be told. I think we had a structure in terms of originally a meal plan, but you
yeah,
sort of just tracking because you could do that and it worked. But this is where
yeah,
every client's different, right? Like most clients are on meal plans, but for you that didn't work because you had like to have a bit of flexibility, but you also were at that level where you could track your food and you'd send it to me and we were like, right, oh, you are sticking to it and you're not having any issues with that. So I think that's
yeah.
where, again, same with like your training, right? Like I think with your training as well, we still managed to improve that, which led to big change in your physique. Do you want to maybe talk about your training, how you found that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So I think
So
obviously we started, you were just training in your apartment gym, right? So not the most kitted out gym, but we managed to get a plan together that really accompanied that gym well. And sort of why don't you go over how you found that sort of side of the training, sending me videos, me giving you feedback and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, when it comes to my gym, I mean, it wasn't, the most modern, nicest looking gym. I wasn't going to a huge facility that had every machine possible. I mean, I just had the leg extension, squat machine, cables, uh, free weights, dumbbells, and like a
Yeah.
couple other machines, right? And I sent you the video, and the the workouts that you gave me were exactly what I had available, right? And it was just, hey, like you're gonna do this amount of sets, this amount of reps, and then just log your weight, try to be better each time. And that was just it. Again, like you just gave me the keys, you gave me the blueprint, and then it was just up to me to follow it.
Yeah.
um and yeah, I mean, I found it pretty easy. I got adapted pretty quick. Logging my weight, I knew what I had. I knew what my personal record was, and I was always obviously trying to beat it. um And yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of progress. Definitely felt a lot stronger. And then I just recently moved a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. So now I have some new machines. I lost some machines. Now I have some new ones. Same thing. I sent you a video, and then you were able to send me some workouts that again were adequate to what I had available. And then same thing, just going back in and doing what I can. Um, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to the training, I mean, it was fun. It was great. I liked going there. I liked getting a pump. Felt stronger every day, and I found it to be really good. It
Yeah, and
was
I
really
think as well
experience.
though you were really good in terms of sending videos for me to give you analysis and form because
Mhm.
even you, someone who's trained for like many years, even you had things that we need to improve on, but we wouldn't have been able to know that if you didn't send the videos. This is where I say like
Right.
the effort that you put in. It's not just following the plan, but it's also doing these little things that I tell you to fill in. Like you fill in the daily check-in form every day. You always checked in every week. You were messaging me all the time. You were sending me form clips all the time. Any questions you already had. So I think that's where the credit goes to you. And sometimes I can't help. Like I can only help with what I'm given. And that's where you really did deliver in terms of sending all of the data that I asked for and just allowing me to do my job because I had all the variables at hand. So I think that's where credit to you and how we've managed to like level up your training. That's a skill now that you've got for life, right? You look in a gym and you look around at everyone training. Most of the time you're the best trainer in the gym, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes you see people and I'm like, oh, like, okay, that's not the way that I would do it. And even with the workouts when I first started, I mean, I was doing it the wrong way, or maybe I was activating or not activating the right muscles. Um, One of them I remember it was like lat pull downs, like single arm lat pull downs.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would just pull back, maybe like flare my arm out, and I would do it
Yeah,
like
you did.
this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, like I want you to, glue it to your side, and then I want you to pull down. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. So then when I started doing it, I would feel it in my lat, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh snap, okay, I've never felt that before.
Yeah.
So that must be
No,
the right way to do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it was, and again, I think also, going into the gym, what I had to learn too is not to ego lift, right? And it's not just, you know, I want to be lifting this much weight because I want to look strong. Sometimes it's not even about the weight. It's okay to go, to lower the weight so you can have the right movements. And then once you do them enough times,
Yeah.
then you can start raising the weight because you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you're willing to lift lighter for the sake of doing it the right way, then same thing, you're going to see progress as well.
Yeah, the way that you said that there is perfect. I think that is a principle that I like to lay down very early on. Is right. Let's make form perfect, and then we can focus on lifting more weight. And that's something that you did from the offset. So again, and then just regards now to like where we're at now. Obviously, we're eating more food, and we're feeling good. With regards to the process that we've done so far. How are you feeling now with regards to the future and how much you can actually now improve your physique?
Yeah, yeah. So I think now, I have a really solid base, right? So now I'm lean, I'm muscular. I think I have like, I mean, I don't know really how accurate my body scale is, but I think I started with like 22% body fat, 21% body fat, and now I think I'm like 15%.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't know how accurate that is, but like I'm lean, like my canvas is white, right? It's clean canvas. So now it's like, where do I go from here? Like, do I want to go back to where I was, or do I want to take a different path and get bigger or get muscular? So obviously, I want to go down this path. So yeah. So now it's just gonna be just sticking to it, doing the same workouts that you sent me. I signed up for a 10K run in July. So same thing. I'm gonna keep running. Um, and then yeah, now my body is used to eating a certain way. I'm still going to be logging my macros, and then just staying
Yeah.
lean.
This
The
is like
plan
the
is to not come back to you 6 months
yeah.
from now, and it's like, Oysum, you got to start over. The
Yeah,
plan is for me to come back to you in 6 months, and I'm like, hey, I'm bigger. I
yeah.
want you to take me to that next step.
Yeah, and that's where we'll just nail this reverse dieting phase just as we've done. I think your lowest was 1,400 calories. We're at 2,000 now. We're just going to keep slowly pushing up your food. You're going to keep running, you're going to keep training hard, and in 6 months' time, you probably could end up being back at, 180, 185 pounds, but this time a totally different physique, still lean with more muscle. And I think that's the exciting part. And then who knows, you're right. Next summer, we diet down again and you'll be looking even better. And that's where
Yeah.
the journey never ends, right? We're never going to be truly satisfied because we can always be better. And I think that is the beauty of a physique transformation is that you can always be better, right? And it's that challenge of now every day you've got a goal to work towards. So you're never going to go back to that 190 pounds because you also realize how much effort you've had to put in, the sacrifices you've
Yeah.
made. It's not worth it. And how good you feel now?
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, again, like I think like I knew that I wanted to do this, and I had been looking around thinking about it, and then when I saw the pictures that you posted, um, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it. And for me, I think the reason why I decided to do it on the spot was because I had just gotten back from a trip. We went to the beach, and I had seen this all the time, and I've told my brother this, but my brother, he's always been in shape. He's always had a six pack. He's always been muscular. He used to do triathlons, ran, lifted, everything. So every time we would go to the beach, he always looked jacked, and I didn't. And it was like, it kind of got to the point where it was like, I was getting self conscious of my own brother, right? I was like, you know what? Like, I don't think it should be like this. I'm gonna do it. So now he's looking at me and he's like, "How did you look like that?" Because now it gets to the point where I look better than him,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, I just talked to this guy and this guy did it for me. He gave me the blueprint and I did it. So
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. And I'd like, again, it's been an absolute pleasure, the journey. I'm so excited for what's to come. And I think this is just a great way to sort of show everyone else that, look, if you are putting in the work and you are feeling how you were explaining how you were feeling, that there's no reason why in 4 months' time, 6 months' time, you can't achieve something that you've achieved yourself. So I'd like to thank you for your time. Where can people find you on Instagram? What is it? What's your Instagram?
it's just Josh Garcia and then two underscores, underscore, underscore.
Love that. Cool. Well, again, once again, I appreciate you for your time and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Loison.